Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover. With me is John Barman. Let's talk football.
Yeah, let's get to it. So this is our NCAA Week 5 preview. If you don't mind, I'll just jump in on my best games ever.
Well, how do you feel about putting the preview together? Did you like the games? A lot of decisions, hard decisions?
I think I had to review it a couple of times and think my way through exactly what I was going to. There was a couple obvious ones, and there was a couple that I put there, and then I took them off, and I'm like, no, that can't be right. There's got to be something better here. Well, it's hard to decide what's going to get the most attention and what's going to get sort of secondary attention.
Yeah, so with college, I pick games and I record them, the ones I really want to watch, and the last couple weeks I've absolutely missed a good one. And that's been super frustrating, and I have to go back and watch it. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen this week, but it might again. Hey, and if you're listening, please hit the like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot, and it's really important for us to get as many views as possible. So thanks a lot for that.
All right, so I'll jump right in here. My first one is Georgia, Alabama, for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah, this is start out of the gate. You're coming out with that one. All right.
Well, you just have to watch this one. They're going to be probably going to be in the playoffs no matter what happens in this game, but still you kind of want to see best on best here. And again, I had this naive notion that Alabama wasn't going to be great this year, but they look really strong. So it's so stupid. I know. So this is Georgia's first really, really big test here. I mean, I guess Clemson was some kind of test, but it didn't turn out to be much of anything. So, and I'm not sure if that, I don't know. I don't know what to make of Clemson, so I can't tell what we learned about Georgia there. And then after their scare with Kentucky last game, I just don't know what to think of Georgia. So my guess is we're going to find out a lot about Georgia here, because I'm pretty sure we know what Alabama is. This is a top flight team with legitimate talent that can go all the way. You couldn't say that about Clemson. You obviously can't say that about Kentucky, but you can say that about Alabama. So Georgia's going to show what they're made of this week.
Yeah, no, and this game, it's the number one game of the week, by far. And one of the things I like about it is that obviously winning it is important. That's why they play the game. But with the expanded playoff and with the schedules coming up, it's not going to derail either team's season. But the reason why it's still the number one game of the week is that how it goes, win or lose, is going to be important. I think if Bama gets blown out, that's going to be not a good thing for Kalen DeBoer. And it's unfair for the 3 games in to have something like that on there, but he's going to be compared to Saban in against big games and what used to happen and stuff. So I think how they play is really important. If it's a tight game and someone loses at the end, that's one thing. But if Bama gets blown out at home like that, it's going to go from welcome Kalen DeBoer to not hot seat, but that'll be a concern. I love the fact that it's at Alabama. You're right about Georgia, both teams really, in terms of who they played in the schedule, and we're going to learn a lot. But if this was Georgia's favorite, I think Georgia is the better team. But playing at Alabama, and Alabama absolutely can beat them. There was an article I was reading that had a good point too, is that Alabama has a fair number of transfers or freshmen versus Georgia. I think they have more players that were there last year and will remember the losing to Alabama. And so I think I try not to get caught up too much in motivation, it's both teams want to win the game. But I think that people remembering what it was like to lose to them last year, it can only help going into this one.
Now, to me, the biggest concern for Georgia fans will be if they come out looking like they did against Kentucky and Alabama just runs all over them, and it's a repeat of that game. But in this case, Alabama finishes the game where Kentucky couldn't. Then that would be two instances of how to beat them, because Kentucky could have easily won that game.
Yes.
And if Alabama just puts the same game plan together and then just pushes them around, then now you kind of have a book on how to beat Georgia, if that's the thing.
Well, I mean, you don't want to be a top tier college football team but the book on you is you can't stop the run. That's going to be a disaster, right? So you're absolutely right. Alabama, is capable and built similar to Kentucky in terms that they could focus on the run game if they wanted, and if it looks anything like that Kentucky, that's going to be a problem. Like that's another good point about the win or lose. If Georgia doesn't stop the run, that's a red flag. So they can't let that happen again.
All right. What do you got next?
Let's see. Where do I want to go here? You know what? I'm going to go to one where this is one of those, it's an intriguing game. I don't know if it's any one of the highlight ones of the week, but it's just something I want to watch now, which is going to be Oklahoma at Auburn. So Oklahoma went with benching their QB. They're going to start a freshman. This will be the first road test, for that Auburn's not in a super easy place to play, although, Cal might disagree with me there. But, I think it's an SEC matchup now. So it's a conference game, and I really want to see if what the freshman looks like after a week of practicing with the ones, and then is the first true road environment. So that one's sneaky high up on my list that I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm. I have a kind of an obvious one. Illinois, Penn State. Illinois just looked really good. And
yes, they did.
This is, they're got their hat in the ring now for one of the better teams in the Big Ten. Altmaier looks really good. And then Penn State hasn't played anyone that is enough of a challenge to prove, is this offense really legit with the new coordinator? Like this is their first real test. So we'll find out a lot about both teams. Yep. I would say Illinois' win against Nebraska is legit, but Penn State has yet to have a true win this season so far. I know it's a young season to prove that they're a top flight team. So this will be a good one.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have had this circled at the beginning of the year, but now it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's at Penn State. It's a night game. That's a really tough environment. I know you're not a big point spread guy, but Penn State would be favored, which makes sense. But if you had to guess off the top of your head what the point spread would be, what would you throw that out at?
I don't know, 3.5.
Yeah, it's Penn State by 19, which feels like
now?
a lot. Yes.
Even after the way the Illinois play. No, you can't.
I'm looking at it right now. Penn State minus 19. So that's because I'm the same as you. I mean, at Penn State, they beat Kent State. Like we don't know much about them. And Illinois looked good, and they've played good teams. And so
minus 19. So they're just considering none of Illinois' resume at all here.
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's the combination that Penn State's undefeated, but they're not factoring in who they played. And I don't think they're factoring in who Illinois played at all. So I was blown away by that myself, because I was thinking the same thing. As Illinois played Kansas and Nebraska, who
who that point spread's the most insulting to? Nebraska.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Like it's actually not an indictment of Illinois as much as it is Nebraska.
Yes.
Because to me, that was a good win. But the odds makers think Nebraska must be terrible if that win just means nothing.
Yeah. Wow. No. So absolutely I was blown away by that. It's way, way too high. But I think Illinois will be competitive and at least keep it close. And Altmaier's good. If the weather's good, I think that'll be important, because you want the passing game to go well. But if it's if the weather's supposed to be decent, then I don't know. I was
19 and a half. As if I thought it was 3.5. All right. Well,
no, but listen, that's why we're not working in Vegas, but it's I thought the same thing when I saw that spread though. So that's
what do you got next?
Okay, so let's see. We did that one. Okay, Colorado UCF. So this is I'm really excited about this one too. The Colorado, I hate giving them any more press because they don't need any more, because they're everyone talks about them. But a game at UCF, who I think is a good team. I like watching UCF. I think I love the Gus Malzahn and Jefferson and the matchup with the running that they do. And I'm secretly, I'll say this on the podcast, but don't tell anyone. I want UCF to run all over them, like just drive them into the ground. And it's because I'm tired of hearing like the Colorado stuff. So I think I want to watch that game. Yeah,
UCF has played some fun games, and Colorado's, you're right, they're they're kind of a look at me sort of thing. It's just you can't not watch them with Dion and the whole circus around them. So I'll have eyes on that one too. But you're right. I bet you a lot of people are starting to hate watch Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I'm not doing that, but I can see how people are, because they just resent the spotlight they have because of Sanders. And objectively, most college football fans can objectively tell that this isn't a good team. But I don't know.
I love the matchup. I love the running, like, because Colorado, they're both offense and defensive line play is not good. So I wanna see UCF execute the running with the quarterback, running with the running back, having him push around. Like I want to, just lose properly to a team that's better built, from the lines out, which is how football should be.
Maybe obviously my next is Maryland and Indiana. I just want to see if Indiana's legit, like if this offense is for real, or if they've just been beating up on weak teams. It's super fun if they're good. I mean, I don't know why some teams are interesting when they're good, but when Penix was there, I was all in on that. So hopefully there's something going on at Indiana where they can be a legitimate team. The Big Ten needs more teams to be good. Yeah. It's been such a top-heavy league for so long, and I know they've imported some strong teams, but it's way more fun if Illinois is in the mix, if Indiana's in the mix, if Wisconsin ever gets its act together. It's just more fun with better teams. It just sucks when teams who have been good, could be good, but just aren't. That sucks. And if Indiana can become a strong team, because it was fun when Penix was there, I thought, hey, okay, this is cool if Indiana's good. So hopefully, I'm just super curious to see if they're going to keep this up or if those were just anomaly games. But I don't think so, but we'll see.
Yeah, and this is I agree with everything you said, and I like the big. It's better when the conference is stronger, sort of top to bottom, and so these are the middle teams, and we're going to learn a lot about them because similar to the previous games we talked about, they haven't played. Indiana hasn't played too many good people yet. Maryland's played a couple of good people, but so we're really going to learn a lot about them. It's supposed to be a good game. The line is short. It's Indiana by 6.5, and the over/under is 52.5. So it should be a relatively high scoring game, which is always fun to watch. Indiana's offense, when it's clicking, is very fun to watch. So that'll be that's another sneaky good game, I think, that could be on the schedule.
All right, what else you got?
So the last one I got is Oklahoma State K-State. I think it's important for both teams, right? Because I think both teams are coming off a loss. I think that both teams were supposed to be like in the mix for their conference championship. And so it's sort of a get right game for both teams. And so neither one's going to want to give it up. And so that's going to be an important one. And I really like Kansas State. I thought that they played poorly the last game, but I really liked when they play well. And so I'm hoping to see them. I'll be pulling for them. I hope to see them come turn around a little bit.
Yeah, I have them in my get right category. I also have TCU and Kansas in that. Both of those need to get right. And Wisconsin, USC. Those are the three I have in the get right category. And my other on the best ever must watch list was Louisville, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a challenge for Notre Dame. They've looked shaky enough that I don't trust them anymore, no matter who they're playing. But remember last week I said Louisville's might become a must-watch team. Like if they can put a couple more games together, they're going to be on the radar. So someone's proving something in this game. Either Louisville proves they belong or Notre Dame is proving they're better than some of their weaker performances have shown. But this is, I think, a more important game for both teams than anyone's really thinking.
This is another one that like how they look is going to be important, because Notre Dame beat Texas A&M, but I don't think they're as good as people thought they were originally. And then they lost to Northern Illinois, and then they beat up on Purdue and Miami of Ohio. So if they get blown out by Louisville, then it's really going to feel like they're not a good team. If it's competitive or if they lose at the end, that's one thing. But yeah, it's an important get right game for them for sure. So that's otherwise it's going to start getting toasty for Freeman there.
Yeah, and for Louisville, there's enough talent on Notre Dame that this is a statement win if they beat them.
Yeah, no, and the Louisville they played Austin Peay and Jacksonville State, which is but then they beat Georgia Tech, who's is not nothing, right? So if it's, but this, we're going to learn a lot about them now. So this is going to be at Notre Dame. It's a tough environment, but they're, if they play really well, then that they've got a chance to go pretty far, because there's not too many strong teams in the ACC.
Mm-hmm. And now I have one other game.
Okay.
My disaster watch, FSU SMU.
Oh,
FSU is my permanent disaster watch. I'm watching every game this year because they just still, even though they beat Cal, they should not struggle with Cal.
Well, and they did.
And SMU can score. Now I get maybe they've been playing weak defenses, but I don't know. We'll see. This is, I mean, I can't even think if I've ever seen. Have these two teams played? If they have, I have never seen it.
Not that I'm aware of it, but I don't know why. If there would have been a bowl game at some point, but yeah, no, it's if the Florida State at SMU, it's an 8:00 game. The environment should be pretty good. The SMU is slightly favored, so they're 5.5 point favorites. So they're, someone thinks they're going to win. And what's shockingly, the over-under is relatively low. It's 47.5. So I thought that SMU's offense is better than that. So, or at least they have shown it the last week. But yeah, I don't. That's again for Florida State. It's if they lose this one, then it's going to get to the point where there's not many winnable games left on the schedule. Which is really saying something for a team that started out rated so highly, because they've got, and then two of the next 3 games are Miami and Clemson. So it's,
I don't see how they win either of those.
No, I don't either. And then they have the one in between that is at Duke. So this is the at SMU is a sneaky important game for them, because otherwise that's going to be 1 in 5. Which is not good. So yeah, I'm getting, but that makes me more excited weekly for the Florida State game at the end of the season.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got for preview here. Do you get anything else?
No, that's it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope I picked the right games. I hope I get to see the good ones, and there's a lot of good matchups. It's getting intriguing.
Yep. All right. So that's it for the preview. We'll see you in a few days on our review show.